I'm a solo practitioner. At various times over the last 9 or 10 years, I've had staff working with me. There are times when I've just been on my own, just a real true solo practitioner where basically I handle all of the firm responsibilities on my own. But in the process of picking up, I would say probably 50% of my caseload is personal referrals. The other 50% is a mix of obtaining clients from a number of different sources. And I was contacted several years ago by Legal Match. And I was solicited by Legal Match, let's say maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And it took a few years for Legal Match to finally convince me that it was a good idea. And I'm very pleased with the services at this point. Very glad I made the decision to sign up with Legal Match. Ultimately, the reason why I did ultimately sign up was for the increased business. I have a steady practice. I can always be busier and I can always use more clients. I thought that Legal Match, there's a handful of other companies out there that were also seeking my business, but ultimately I went with Legal Match. I thought it had the best platform that I saw, and I was also really happy with the customer service and my initial contact with Legal Match did a great job. It's a great platform. It's easy to use. Always are some glitches, and whenever has been a glitch, that's been corrected for me. So I was happy. I'm happy about that. I like the idea of, I think a lot of the initial contact with clients, especially over the last 6 months, of course, 7 months. But anyway, over the last couple of years, that initial phone contact is very important. And the information that Legal Match provides on the client profile is very helpful. And I'm able to reach out and make contact. The majority of the time, I'm able to reach out and at least make contact with the potential client almost every time. So I've been able to secure a handful of clients with Legal Match, which has been great. Anytime a platform or I could pick up new business, it's always great. And I'd say, obviously, right off the bat, that's the biggest benefit, clearly. Non-competitors, only people not in my area. Just kidding. I would recommend Legal Match to other attorneys. I think it's a great platform. It's pretty competitive out there now. I know I'm still getting calls from other companies, and all of the companies do it a little differently. But I think Legal Match offers the best. So far, anyway, I've decided to stay with Legal Match, so far, because some of the other companies look pretty good. I decided to stay with Legal Match. In each individual circumstance, it really depends on what the attorney is looking for. I mean, it's a good way to generate business. I don't know if Legal Match is for everyone. I mean, I think it's more suited for solo or small firms that could use a little some extra business. But one thing I will say is that Legal Match doesn't bring clients to you. Legal Match provides another source of potential customers and clients, but certainly the attorney, I think, has to do the. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I mean, it's just not just like you sign up for Legal Match and all of a sudden you have new clients. You have to work at it. You have to work for it. And it's very competitive. People who are John Doe out there, or John Smith actively seeking legal counsel for some problem that he has, or Jane Smith. So they could call several attorneys, and a lot of times people have attorneys in their family or friends and family refer them to an attorney, and so you're competing for the business of maybe direct referrals. Because, for instance, I get referrals also. Like anything else, you have to work at it. I mean, it's got to be something that you really want to make work. You want to be successful. So you have to, don't think there's any blueprint, but you have to figure out for yourself. You have to want it to work, and you have to work on it. You have to be diligent. Not get discouraged, because it took me a while before I really got the hang of it and was able to make it work for me. But you don't want to just, you have to just stick with it. Don't get discouraged if you're not picking up cases or you're not developing new business right away. Just stick with it, and if you want it to work, the platform's there for you. It could work for most people. I think if the attorney really wants it to work, I think it would work for most attorneys. I have my smartphone with me all the time, and that's how I find out that there's a new potential client that's seeking out my services. So I try to respond very quick. I think a quick response is important. I try to stay on top of that and respond as quickly as possible. And I think what's worked for me is reaching out and just making contact with someone initially. You don't have to actually earn the business, or you don't have to sign a new client on the first minute you talk to the person. You just want to reach out and make initial contact, because, again, it goes back to a relationship. And you think about it, Nancy, if you were seeking an attorney, if you need legal counsel, you'd certainly want to be comfortable with your attorney. You'd want to feel confident that the attorney is going to provide competent legal services. How do you make that determination? It's based on your initial conversation, maybe your initial impression, and I guess it comes down to how you feel. I mean, it's obviously, how someone feels about their lawyer is important. You want to believe that, the lawyer is doing his or her best for you, and the initial impression, I think, is very important. So I would say definitely reach out quickly, right away, and if nothing else, just to make contact and let the person know you received their inquiry and you're getting back to them, and you want to let them know that you've received it, and then you're happy to set up another time to talk to them. If you have time right there, you can, but a lot of times you don't. But set up a time, and then certainly follow through and follow up. It's important too. You say you're going to follow up. Of course, I'm giving you an example, but I certainly missed your call at 4, so I don't know if I did a good job with you on our scheduled time. From a legal match standpoint, it hasn't really dropped off too much. I don't get a ton of business from Legal Match, but I'm satisfied with a client I get here and there. And as long as it's paying for, it's at least paying for itself, and it has. It's at least paid for itself every month. And most months I'm able to generate business that goes beyond. But everything's going well. I mean, it's from that standpoint, I haven't really been affected by it. Legal Match hasn't been affected. I don't see it's been affected by the pandemic. Well, generating new business. I mean, I think that's the key. I think it's as simple as that. I used another system a couple years ago, and I can tell you that this is Legal Match is a better system than the one I used a couple years ago. It's been a good source of additional business. Once you learn that, once you go through the platform, it's pretty self-explanatory. It doesn't really take much training or anything, so I haven't had really much interaction with my account manager, but I think my new account manager, is his name Isaiah, maybe? I don't remember. I think his name's Isaiah. But, I haven't had a lot of interaction with the account manager, but they seem to be available when I need, but I haven't really needed anybody much.